Hey there folks, welcome back to another update at Falklands Fish. I've got a bit going on this week. I'm busy preparing for some new fish tomorrow, so I've been doing some water changes and preparatory for that. I've done a little bit of breeding and just some moving fish around. I'll take you through it on the other side. See you soon. So last week we did some work in the Venustus tank. If you remember, we pulled quite a few fry out of that tank, and I wanted to continue on and get this end wall done in preparation for beginning to film for the fish room tour that's going to go up hopefully by the end of the month. So that obviously tank 1 up here we had all done last week. Underneath this we have a big grow out. This is about a 500 litre tank. It's, I think, just over, it's a strange dimension. It's 185 long by 50 by 50 to come out at 460 litres or something thereabouts. And I've got this chock full of fish that I'm preparing to move hopefully to outlets on the mainland. Please place your order, Chrissy, if you're watching. We have a load of Venustus in here. We have some nice ham bench Fort Maguire peacocks, which is a red-shouldered variant, and there's a few other odds and ends. There's the bluefish of some male Placidochromis blue otters that are excess to my needs for breeding, and I think there's maybe a couple of Mabuna types in there, some Chihuahua perhaps, and there are some Victorian and other African species in there which are growing on just in this community, and they'll become a breeding project when I get into this tank and get it sorted. But primarily Malawi species. Down the bottom, same thing. We've got another big long grow out here full of mostly Lalupi, orange Lalupi, and we've got some Julidochromis Maleri Gombies in there. We've got a few Calachromis Macrops, and there are a couple of breeding projects kind of dumped in here to stall as well. The Alto Lamprologus fasciatus, there's 4 or 5 of those in here. I'm not sure that I've got females unfortunately, but that's kind of what I'm trying to get an eyeball on in here. And we've got a colony of Ophthalmotilapia nasuta capilli golds in here. I've been a bit unlucky with the fish that I've accessed so far with a high number of males, and so I pulled out a couple of spare males, threw the rest down here and waiting for the juvenile fish to catch up, and we'll find out whether we're going to luck out again or not on those. And then across and up on top here I did the full catch clean strip thing that I talk about in this tank. These are Otopharynx tetrastigma. It's a big colony, it's too many fish, but after my problems back at Christmas time it was something that I had 40 or so left of, and I thought, well, I might as well breed them properly if I'm going to fight my way back from the brink. We also have in here some rusties, the humble rusty. It's often I believe overlooked fish in the trade from the point of view of a Malawi display tank. They have great colour, and they're just a solid bread and butter entry point level cichlid that a lot of people kind of balk at because they think they're brown, but there's some nice mauve and purple aspect to them, and I really think they're worth giving a go. I was lucky enough to pull quite a few fry from this tank. I might have maybe 200 tetrastigma fry and eggs tumbling, which we'll get to in a minute around the back, and we we've got a couple of nice mouthfuls out of the rusties as well, so got them coming along the way. The fronty tank's still kind of happy, like the fish are eating like pigs, so that's all good, but I'm still trying to work out why they are favouring this third of the tank. It's possible that the filter I'm running down that end is a bit hectic. I've got it choked back to the slowest rates, but it's also possible that they're not getting along too well with this limnochromis here, which I've got 4 of these in here. I think I mentioned last week I was trying to ascertain the pair. I now think that we've got one that hangs here, we've got one that hangs here, and the other 2 are down the far end. So the next job will be, next time I'm in this tank, is to get these 2 fish out. So usually there's one out behind the pot and usually there's one in the pot. So I think this is the pair that we want to get to and get hopefully into a smaller tank on the other side here, 3x18, where they can do their thing peacefully, and then we'll get rid of those other 2 down there, and hopefully the frontoses will come along and start to produce and settle in properly. Down here was just a water change. This is my colony of Pundamalia Nyurai Rooty Islands, the red Victorian there. I think they sometimes get mistakenly called a flameback in Australia. I've got a feeling this is the fish that actually should be called a crimson tide, but isn't in Australia. So that's one of those things, cichlid naming, you've got to stay on top of it. I stripped a couple of small females here, not a lot of fry yet because these are still a bit young, but maybe 20 odd of those growing up. And the other fish we're looking at is an albino Labiotropheus furiborni from the Nakatanga location or collection point, Lake Malawi. Got 8 or 9 of these that survived, and we're waiting on them to mature and desperately want to get those breeding. The more peachy orange coloured ones are the females with this, I believe, and the more pearly white guys are the males. So looks like we've got a couple of dominant males already, and hopefully I get a few of them to breed, because I don't have many of these and I don't think there's many elsewhere. I still haven't done this job, which was what I said I was going to do at the end of last week's video, the Macrops tank. We've got still the volcano in front, and I do believe the female's still holding in there, so I do need to get that out, because she's probably starting to get a little bit hungry, I suppose, by now. This was another grading, just water change and clean. These are young fish that still are to mature to the breeding point. The silver blotchy thing is the Protomelus Fenestratus tiger nicanders. Hello Ron, if you're watching. These are the ones I'm going to start over with. Got about 14 or 15 in there. And the little black Mabunas are Matria climber species Kawanga golds. They're taking their sweet time to grow, unfortunately, but thank God I've still got some. And there is a male finally starting to come through there, so they may be getting to the point where something starts to happen soon. Following on from where I started last week in this tank, my worst fears were sort of confirmed from my good mate Tom with a text message the other night at work, where we're now pretty sure that all these Melanogenes are males, which explains why we haven't had any breeding all this time. And this is where the whole sneaker male thing comes in. It's not a fish that I've ever kept before, and what I wasn't aware of is that the size of these fish at around 12 centimetres probably indicates the sex straight off the bat. That apparently the females don't get quite that big, is what I'm being told. But anyway, it answered the question as to why no breeding. And part of what I said in the intro, where I'm going to be getting some new fish tomorrow, is that I've been able to pick up a few more juveniles fried from a good mate over in Melbourne. Hello, Max. So hopefully we get lucky with just a couple of girls out of that, and maybe I'll be able to salvage the project. Underneath here is a tank that I've just finished scrubbing and water changing. I haven't cleaned front glass yet, and this is in readiness for a project that's coming tomorrow, so I won't elaborate too much now, other than to say that we've got some OB peacocks hiding in here that are going to act as a dither for this upcoming project, and possibly a bit of a punching bag if we're able to get some breeding going. This is sort of a theory that I'm testing, where I call it sort of breeding by spite, and hopefully this thing I've got coming is going to react the way I'm suspecting, and I can produce it. And you know, if I produce some OBs in the meantime, so be it. I'm not super crazy about the things, given the hybrid status of them, but on the other hand, they do pay bills at certain pet shops. What are we doing around the back here? So we've been cleaning some tanks along this central row here in readiness once again for fish that are arriving tomorrow that might need a little bit of petitioning and just some time out as they settle into my conditions, and then I can sort of get a better feel for where I'm going to put them once I've eyeballed them, seen the size, etc. These little things that I tried to film last week have been out a little bit. They're kind of squabbling. And of course, once again, I'm not going to be not going to play fair for us. Waiting on those to just give me something. So I think this is our tumbler of rusty fry that I mentioned earlier. So there was two mouthfuls here. It looks like one mouthful's ready to let out, so I better get to that this afternoon. Further along the way is a batch of tetrastigma. Well, when I say a batch, this was maybe 3 or 4 mouthfuls, so we've got them at various stages in here, and of course some are ready to let out, so that should be another job I get to this arvo. We've got a good what do we got up here? I think that's my Eureka Reds. I think I've got quite a few tetrastigmas up here. Sorry, I didn't grab the little ladder, so it's a bit hard. As I said, I think I'm going to have a couple of hundred of those to play with. The Venustus are finally, they're ready to come out of tumbler as well, I believe, to go with the others that we saw last week, so plenty going on there. One last little tank that's all set up, ready for something really sexy that's coming tomorrow too, so hopefully when I see you next week I'm going to be able to show you some new stuff that is pretty exciting. I'm hoping these things breed soon. They're kind of showing good possibility. That's a Neolampologus Basheri Canacondi. Lovely, lovely Lake Tanganyika fish, beautiful colours, and can't wait to get some. Alrighty, I think I'll leave that here for today. Thanks for hanging in, and look, if you're getting any sort of enjoyment out of these, I could do with a few people hitting the like button for me. I'm, as I've said, trying to get back to regular production and giving the people what they want, and makes you feel a bit better as a producer of content to see a couple of more likes per 100 views than what I'm getting. And it doesn't take any time, it doesn't cost you anything if you got something out of it. Righto folks, thanks again, see you next time.